The irony that I'm airing this episode all about email marketing on the day when all of us, at least in the US, maybe to a certain degree the rest of the world, are getting the most emails from businesses. Good old Black Friday is not lost on me. Did I mean to do this? Not entirely. Will it further the point I'm about to make? Absolutely. Why? Because your emails, my dear maker friend, are not the same as the 27 emails I will probably have in my inbox by the end of this recording from one single massive company. What makes them different? Well, that's the point of listening to this solo episode now, isn't it? Welcome back to the Maker's Playbook, the podcast where we talk all about what it's really like to make a living from the things we make. Before we dig in, a friendly reminder. The Maker's Playbook is currently sponsored by Amico. You may have noticed that Amico isn't taking direct orders on their website currently. And while that may seem like a bad thing, the reason for it is pretty awesome. For the past 8 months, Amico has been focusing on supplying their distributors first. In other words, they are focused on making sure your favorite local shops are supported before even their own website. And you can easily pick up your favorite glazes like Potter's Choice Honey Flux or Rainforest Celadon on the shelf of your local clay shop and avoid those extra shipping costs. Naturally, high demand and supply issues have made it hard to keep stores stocked these days. But Amico is dedicated to supporting your favorite local small businesses first, now and in the future. And that, my friends, is putting your money where your values are, which you know I'm all about. If you don't yet have a favorite local shop, you can find an Amico distributor near you by visiting amico.com/dealers. Now, let's dig into all things email marketing. I'm your host, seasoned entrepreneur of 12 years, Rebecca Ickes Carra. So, email marketing. You've heard about it. You know you probably should be doing it. Because after all, every time Instagram changes their algorithm, all of a sudden there's a flurry of reminders from other makers to sign up for my email list. It's the only way I can be sure to still connect with you because Instagram is ruining my life right now. I hope you can hear the little bit of sarcasm I have in that statement. And I also recognize I just said that you should be doing something. And if you do follow me over on Instagram at The Maker's Playbook, well, you know how I feel about shoulds. And if you don't yet follow me, then wipe the mud off your hands and pop on over to that little slice of the internet right now to see my most recent post all about that pesky word, should. I'm not a fan, but I'm getting distracted here. Email marketing is the topic at hand. What happens when all of those makers get scared into starting an email list after yet another social media algorithm change? More often than not, I see something like this. A social media platform changes their algorithm, or they add and thus promote a new feature that pisses us all off. Because we're just over here trying to keep up with what is already happening. It's a lot. I get it. So there's 1 or 2 outrage posts, and a few savvy makers use this outrage as a reminder that, oh yes, I kind of have an email list. I started it because I know that I own my list and I control that list, so I shall free myself from the grip of Instagram on my business. Huzzah! But at the same time, we personally kind of already feel like we have way too many emails trying to sell us too much stuff. So we explain to anyone who might sign up for our list that we promise not to spam them and will only send a message when we have a shop update. So don't worry, my friends. You're about to sign up for this email list to save me from the devil that is some social media algorithm, but I won't send you anything at all for about another month or two. And then radio silence. Actually, it's probably still some minimal level of posting on social media, if we're being honest. I don't think I'm that far off on this hypothetical story, right? Sounds pretty familiar? Okay, now let me give you a different example that has nothing to do with marketing or sales or social media. So, imagine with me, you have just attended a friend's birthday party and you met new people that you totally got along with. Before the end of the party, you give your hopeful, soon to be new friends your phone number. A few days go by, and those new friends you were so excited about, well, they never even send you a text message. Not even a polite, hey, it was great meeting you. A couple months go by, and you still haven't heard from them. You vaguely remember being excited about meeting them, but you can't remember their first names in order to ask your mutual friend for their contact information. Then all of a sudden, one day, you get a text message from a number you don't know, inviting you to come over to their house for drinks. That's stranger danger if I've ever heard it. Clearly, that is a bad spam text message, and you delete it. Do you hear how silly that sounds? When you meet someone who you are genuinely interested in and want to become friends with, you don't wait to contact them until you want something from them, like for them to come to a party. No way. You chat for a little while. Maybe some random texts about a subject of interest you both share, but, that's not too intimate, like sports or music or TV. Then you might mention you're grabbing coffee with your mutual friend, and do they want to come join the two of you? The coffee meetup is just as much fun as the first time you met, and so a couple of weeks later, when you notice that the local band you both talked about liking is playing at your neighborhood bar, you invite them to come. Except maybe this time without the mutual friend. And before you know it, you're audio messaging each other back and forth every day, swapping hilarious gifts to share in your daily life, and planning a week-long vacation together. If I'm not being clear enough here with my metaphor, let me get to the chase. When you ask someone for their email address and then only email them when you have a shop update, it's like meeting someone for the first time and then 2 months later they text you asking you if you want to go on vacation together. Awkward. Odds are you are not going to say yes to that vacation. After all, you barely know the person. And thus, what might have been an amazing lifelong friendship becomes a bit weird. And slowly, the potential relationship kind of just fizzles out. Now, I know what you're thinking. Marketing your business isn't the same as fostering a new friendship, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Marketing sales are gross, and you hate them. Am I right? But have you ever thought that maybe you feel gross because you aren't treating it like fostering a friendship? Here's the thing. People buy from people or companies they know, like, and trust. This phrase, know, like, and trust, has been around for decades. This is not my original thought or personal opinion. It's just a psychological fact. And it's even more true for us small businesses and independent makers because many times the people buying from us are making that purchase because they believe in us personally and want to support us. If the mug walls of many a potter are any indication, you didn't just buy that new mug because you desperately needed another mug. You bought that mug because perhaps you've been following that potter online for a while now. They've shared about why they love ceramics, how they came to their personal aesthetic, why it's important to them. You nodded along to many of the things they said and double tapped that photo to show your admiration. You saw their last shop update, but you just weren't in the position to buy anything at that on time. But this time, you're prepared. You've made an account on their website so you can check out at a lightning quick speed when they open up their shop and snag that favorite mug before it sells out. These actions, my friends, doing things ahead of time to be prepared so you're ready to purchase, these are the actions of support. These are the actions of supportive friends. And I'm not just talking about literal friends and family, even though more often than not, they are the first ones that buy our pottery. Thanks, guys. I'm talking about the very different relationship we, as small independent makers, have with our customers when you compare it to the big box stores flooding your inbox as I speak. Oftentimes, our customers are making purchases from us. Yes, because they like our aesthetic and stylistic choices, the way someone might be choosing to shop at Restoration Hardware instead of Crate and Barrel, but also because of a deeper set of values. Big box stores are all sort of competing for the same audiences in a certain way. I have absolutely no emotional attachment to where I buy the fleece-lined leggings that I've needed to purchase for about the last month or so, but figured I might as well wait until Black Friday. As long as they are as comfortable and warm as I expect, I might purchase them from Banana Republic. It could be Target. It might be The Loft. I don't know. And frankly, I don't really care. Try as I might to do the research to find out how my clothing is made, in an effort to make sure I'm not contributing to systemic problems of underpaid employees, it's actually pretty hard to learn about who makes your clothes when you're buying them from a large company. But learn about the artist behind the painting that I'm saving up to buy one day, hear their story, feel connected to their philosophical approach to life or the way they see the world. Now, that starts to become a very different set of reasons to buy one painting over another. So, back to the subject at hand. Why does email marketing feel like spam? Because you are only comparing your potential emails to massive retailers that we most likely have absolutely no emotional connection to. I do not care what Target has to say in an email. Let's be honest. I've only given them my email to get a discount code. And that's not a friendship. That's me taking advantage of sales and discounts on products that aren't necessarily meaningful to me. And this brings up another big point I wanted to make in this episode. When we start off our email list by encouraging people to sign up solely because we're going to give them some kind of discount, we are teaching our customers to not purchase things from us at full price. We are teaching them to not value or respect the price we've probably painstakingly taken the time to decide upon. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but here in the US, every clothing retailer I know sends out multiple emails every single week, almost every single day. And at least half of the time, inside that email is something about one sale or another. So when do you think the last time I bought clothes at full price was? Frankly, I couldn't tell you. I have absolutely no idea. Because why would I do that? When I know if I just wait another week, Banana Republic will once again send me another 30% off discount code. Now, in my mind, they've made 30% off the minimum. It's basically what I consider to be their normal price. If they want me running to my computer to buy new clothes because of a great deal, well, I'm waiting for at least 40% off, if not more. And I'm going to make an educated assumption right now. You, my dear maker friend, are not pricing your work with such a high profit margin that you can reasonably afford to continuously offer discounts. Am I right? I sure hope I'm right. Because if I'm not, well, maybe you might want to go back and listen to episode number 217 about the social responsibility of businesses. Just, a suggestion. Do you see now how email marketing, while the same name, is actually not the same thing when we're comparing ourselves to the big box retailers out there? Here's something else that I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume you do not have the capacity, the bandwidth, the resources, the team members, or the energy to write daily emails to your email list or your hypothetical email list if you don't yet have one. I'm guessing that at the absolute most, you could maybe consider committing to once a week emails. However, once a month emails would be far more likely and manageable. So when we compare the daily, sometimes even multiple times a day, annoying, impersonal, sales and discount focused emails of major retailers that we have absolutely no emotional connection to, when we compare that kind of email marketing to perhaps hearing from an acquaintance who we loved meeting that one time months ago, and we're so glad that they make a point of reaching out every once in a while because now we've moved and we live far away and we might not get to see them on a regular basis. So thank goodness they are great at sending us a message once a month to stay in touch. Do you see how you're not spamming your email list? Not to mention, when you are particularly worried about a behavior, odds are you aren't going to wind up doing whatever it is you're worried about. If you're worried about spamming someone's email inbox, you most likely are not going to ever send so many emails that they think of them like spam. Will some people unsubscribe when you send out an email? Yeah, of course. But that's okay. Life changes. People have the right to change their mind. Maybe they loved the work you created when you were using this one particular color of blue glaze because blue is their favorite color. But now that you've switched to 100% wood firework, full orange and brown and red and iron, well, they just don't love those colors. Unsubscribing seems to make sense. It's nothing personal about you or even your work, really. It's just not their favorite color. Or maybe they just lost their job. And while they absolutely love your work, they simply can't afford it right now. And they know if they keep being reminded about your beautiful work, they will want to buy something. And so they unsubscribe to make the healthy financial choice of not placing an unnecessary purchase on their credit card. I think we can all get behind some smart financial decisions, even if it means losing a sale, right? Who knows? Maybe the person that is unsubscribing is Marie Kondoing their inbox and your emails just do not bring them joy. Sure, that sucks to hear. But it is truly impossible for any of us to do something that everyone loves. Nor should we even be trying to make everyone happy, so no worries. Maybe you can compare who unsubscribed and who did not unsubscribe to learn a little bit more about your ideal customer. That's a different subject for a different podcast. But you cannot not send out messages to your email list because of the fear of the unsubscribe button. You want people that are not interested to unsubscribe. You want your list to be packed full of people who are super excited to hear from you, who love every word that you write, and cannot wait for you to announce your next shop update. But let me get back to my original point here. I'm publishing this solo episode all about email marketing on the biggest weekend of spammy emails in the United States to encourage you to send more emails. Because what does feel spammy is to only ever hear from someone that you've entrusted with your email address when they just want you to buy something. If that's the only time we communicate with our email lists, then we are exactly the same as those big box retailers. Then the relationship is purely transactional. Then maybe you do have to start offering those discount codes in order to get people to click the button in the email to come to the shop and buy something. Ugh. It might feel contradictory, but sending your regular messages to your email list actually allows you to not be salesy and spammy and gross. Sending regular messages allows you to have a conversation. Remember when I mentioned at the start of this that people buy from people they know, like, and trust? Well, how the heck is someone supposed to get to know you unless you talk to them? Share stories. Explain why you make what you make. Tell a funny story about the time you spent an entire month only making bowls in order to have nesting sets. But after making over 30 different bowls, you wound up with only one set of 3 that actually fit together. And even then, it wasn't even an ideal fit. I mean, this is clearly a hypothetical story. Anyway, in that email, you could explain how that month taught you so much about why you prefer a certain curve or height to a bowl compared to others, how it feels in your hands, how the ergonomics work better for passing side dishes around the table, how you put that much thought and testing into all of your pieces. More often than not, when someone is looking to buy from an independent maker, they are also interested in supporting that person. This is a huge difference between us independent small businesses and the big retailers. And this is why I can draw the metaphor between email marketing and the way you would foster a relationship with a potential new friend or acquaintance. Rather than the spam we immediately delete to make our unread message number go down. I'm going to give you one more example to clarify all of this. And then we'll be done, I promise. So, here it is. You're planning a housewarming party. You've just moved and you've spent the last 6 months renovating your new home. You've put in hours and hours of blood, sweat, and tears preparing each room, and you cannot wait for your friends to see all of your hard work. You get so caught up in finishing up the last bits of touch-ups and dusting that you forget to send out an invitation ahead of time. But you can't delay the party because you've already ordered a bunch of food from your favorite local caterer, and it's now the day before the party, and you have to pick up the food today, so it's too late to cancel. The party has to be tomorrow. No worries, though. This is 2022 after all. You'll just message all of your friends and invite them to come to your house tomorrow. So you send out a few text messages and a group email. And then you start to get the responses. Friend number 1 would love to, but they already made plans for tomorrow. Could they come by the following weekend instead? Friend number 2, well, they live 2 hours away. If they would have known ahead of time, they would have planned a trip back to visit, but now it's too late to reserve a dog sitter, and it's too long of a drive to leave the dog by themselves for that many hours in one day, so they're just going to have to miss the party. Friend number 3 can make it, and they can't wait. I think you get my point here. Had you told your friends earlier about your housewarming party, more people would have been able to come. But since it was a bit of a surprise to everyone, they don't quite have the ability or the resources to make it. If it's not obvious, the housewarming party here is a big shop update, my friends. When we are asking people to spend their money, because after all, that is what a shop date is about, our potential customers need to feel confident in order to hand over that credit card number. They need to know what to expect. So let's spell this out without the metaphors. Option number 1. You've been working away in your studio for the last 4 months in order to prepare tons of gorgeous handmade pieces for a shop update. But you haven't quite decided on the date exactly. You have a small but mighty email list, but you haven't sent them a message since the last shop update about 5 months ago. Your shop updates don't always happen at the same time, Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 5. It sort of just depends on life, obviously. But now you are finally ready. You've spent all weekend taking amazing photos of your pots, thanks to your handy photography cheat sheet that you downloaded from themakersplaybook.com/photography, and your listings are finished. You hit publish. And then you send off a somewhat anxious email to everyone on your list, letting them know, surprise! I just updated the shop with amazing new pieces. Come check it out. As your email hits inboxes and your subscribers open it, a few different things might happen. Subscriber number 1 is pleasantly surprised. She's been hoping you'd have a shop update again soon, and she is thrilled that her favorite mug is back in stock. She couldn't buy one last time, but this time she was lucky enough to be sitting at her desk when your email came through, and she bought it right away. She can't wait for it to arrive. Subscriber number 2 is totally bummed that she didn't know you were about to have a shop update. She needed a gift for her best friend's birthday this weekend, but she bought something last week when she was at a local market. Your mug would have actually been a better gift, but it's too late, and she's not going to spend twice as much as she had planned. Subscriber number 3 saw your email that night after getting home from work. She clicked into your website, but she didn't have an account made yet, and she was really tired, and then she got an error message, and she just didn't have the energy to figure it out, so she just closed her phone and went to bed instead. Subscriber number 4 doesn't see your email until the weekend. She's pleasantly surprised when she clicks through and there are actually pieces still available. But she just paid for a big vacation 2 weeks ago, so now that she realizes the prices, she doesn't think she should put something else on her credit card. Maybe next time. Subscriber number 5, well, they never opened your email because they didn't recognize the email address it came from and they didn't remember your business name. So they just assumed it's spam. It is the holiday season after all. Option number 2. Over the last 5 months, you've been making work with the plans and hopes to launch a shop update. It's taken you a month longer than you were aiming for, but while you've been making, you've also been sharing about the process. You've posted a little bit on Instagram, but you don't have a ton of followers or engagement on your posts. You're feeling a little bit discouraged by all the social media stuff, if you're being honest, but you keep trying anyway. At the same time, you also sent out an email once a month for the last 6 months. It all started with a big thank you email from your last shop update, which honestly wasn't as successful as you hoped, but it is still important to thank everyone anyway. Right, Mom? You decided instead of waiting until you were 100% confident on the exact date of your shop update, you'd share more about the process with everyone along the way. The first month, you sent out an email about how you first came to start making ceramics. You share a little bit, but not too much, about what was going on in your life at the moment and how ceramics seemed to be a way to help calm your worries and literally and metaphorically center you. You hope your pieces can also be a source of calm for people in today's hurried schedules. The second month, you share a bit more about the logistics in your email of what you like to make and how you choose processes that make your work food and microwave and dishwasher safe because you want people to feel comfortable using these pieces every single day. You might even include a photo in the email of you using your own pieces. After your second email, you get a reply from a customer who is obsessed with her mug, and she uses it every single day. They don't actually ever put it in the dishwasher, even though that's part of why they bought it in the first place, because they have to clean it every morning to use it again immediately. You are thrilled, and you get permission to use their testimonial in your third monthly email. And so the casual emails continue until you realize you're getting really close to actually being ready to have a shop update. Your next monthly message, you let everyone know you think you'll be ready by the third week of the month. The week before your shop update, you actually send out another email to confirm with your list that yes, the shop is going to go live next Thursday. Be sure to mark your calendars. And then, on a hope and a prayer and a little bit of encouragement from this podcast that you found and started listening to recently, you go way out of your comfort zone and send a third email within 1 month. This third email goes out the day your shop goes live to remind everyone what time things will be available. Thanks to all of the excitement and the personal connections you were able to make over these last 5 months, you have the best shop update you've ever had. Best of all, you have happy customers. You were able to explain your process, what they can expect in shipping and how the website works, how to check out. You explained all of this throughout the past 5 months of emails. You didn't have to have nearly as many questions that you had to answer one-on-one after you launched the shop as you've had in the past. After everything is packed up and shipped, you send out your thank you email. And once again, go back to checking in with these amazing people who support you in pursuing the life of your dreams with once a month, casual, friendly emails. Okay. Did I make that a little bit idyllic? Maybe. But is it really that far-fetched? Absolutely not. Do you want to know how I know? Because the last time I launched the Maker's Photography Styling System, we had 50% of our available spots booked solely through our waitlisters on our email list. It's the difference between throwing that party and not being sure if anyone can make it versus not buying the food until you have all of the RSVPs. And actually, that metaphor is better than I expected it because RSVPs, by nature, are literally a form of communicating between a host, which is you in this metaphor, and invitees, or guests, which are your customers. All right, I'm belaboring the point now. I know many of us are just trying to keep our heads above water right now and survive the holiday craziness, so I want to finish up here by telling you something that will hopefully slow down your nervous system. I am not suggesting you stop all of your making right now and spend 2 days trying to set up an email capture form on a website and link it automatically to an email service provider, and then another day writing an automated email sequence to welcome people onto your email list. And holy crap, Rebecca, that's everything you just said is part of why email lists are so overwhelming and I'm not doing them. Oh my gosh, I'm shutting off this podcast. I know. My friend, don't worry. Here's what I want you to do instead. In order to take advantage of the uniquely crazy time of year that is the fourth quarter, in order to set yourself up for more long-term success in the future, and maybe even a little less Instagram, gather every customer's email address in whatever manual fashion you can. For example, if you're selling your work on Etsy right now, write a friendly message that you save in the Notes app of your phone. Something like, "Hey, Catherine, thank you so much for buying one of our giant mugs. We appreciate your support so much and would not be able to make our work without you. In the future, we're going to be launching our own website and adding a lot more items there than we'll be hosting here on Etsy. Would you like me to add your email address to our list so you can find out first when new items are available? And then copy and paste that message to every single person after every order. If you save it in a Notes app, you just have to copy and paste. You don't have to retype it all the time." To be fair, just for the record, I just rattled off that example message from the top of my head, and I did not fully consult Etsy's terms of use. So be sure to read up on those and then craft your message in a way that does not get you into trouble. There are ways. I know there are. You can figure out a way to be in the terms and still get emails. Don't worry. But anyway, manually gather emails however you need to. You can copy and paste them and put them into a Word document. You can just ask people on Instagram to DM you their email addresses. You don't need to worry about a fancy automated link in your bio. Yes, it involves more copying and pasting on your part, but that really doesn't take that long. The point is to just get started. Not everything has to be perfect. Create a spreadsheet or a doc or whatever document you can access on both your laptop and your phone so you can do this on the go. Then, after you sleep for 3 days at the end of all this holiday sales craziness, just send out a thank you message to everyone on a list. You don't even have to use an email marketing platform for this. You can just BCC everyone out of your inbox. And then 1 month later, let them know how things are going. Let them know what new tool or piece of equipment you bought after all of their generous support and how it's going to change your maker's life. The next month, let them know what new ideas you've been toying around with and testing out to make. Heck, maybe even ask them what they might be most interested in you making. So on and so forth. I promise you won't be lumped into the spam category. And if you are, those weren't your people anyway. And you know what? If you don't believe me, come pop your email address into the form at makersplaybook.com/newsletter to see how I'm practicing what I'm preaching over here on this side of the computer. You'll receive emails about the most recent podcast episodes and also my coveted once-a-month free photo tips email newsletter, written specifically for the photography plights of ceramicists and makers. Yes, I have sent tips about getting your glaze colors to look accurate. And yes, we have discussed pesky glare. In case you missed that super suave segue of mine, can you tell we're rounding into year 2 of the podcast? Just to be clear, I was suggesting you sign up for my email list. You can do so over at makersplaybook.com/newsletter. This episode has been sponsored by Amico. You may have noticed that Amico isn't taking direct orders on their website currently. And while that may seem like a bad thing, the reason for it is awesome. For the past 8 months, Amico has been focusing on supplying their distributors first. In other words, they're focused on making sure your favorite local shops are supported even before their own website. You can easily pick up your favorite glazes like Potter's Choice Honey Flux or Rainforest Celadon on the shelf of your local clay shop and avoid those extra shipping costs in the process. Naturally, high demand and supply issues have made it hard to keep stores stocked these days. But Amico is dedicated to supporting your favorite small businesses first, now and in the future. And that, my friends, is putting your money where your values are. And you know I'm all about it. If you don't yet have a favorite local shop, you can find an Amico distributor near you by visiting amico.com/dealers. And a little spoiler alert, I'm excited to say that Amico will also be sponsoring the Maker's Playbook podcast at the start of the new year. I'm thrilled. And it's just one of many exciting announcements that are going to be coming in 2023. I have to get back to plotting out my calendar to make sure all of the ideas floating around in my head can actually come to life in the time that I think I can do it. But if you're sick of hearing me hint at these ideas without totally knowing what they are, the place where I share what I'm thinking about before it's entirely fleshed out, finalized, or just where I brainstorm if you want to experience that, all of that is happening over inside of the community. Our online home for makers like you and me, just trying to figure out how the heck to make a living or a side hustle from the things that we make. Our community membership is also a super tangible way of supporting all the work that goes into creating these podcast episodes. So if you've been loving these episodes and we're looking for a way to support the podcast, the community is the place to be. Come learn more about it at makersplaybook.com/community. All right, my friends, until next time, go get back to making your dreams a reality. Because together, we've got this.